Hey everybody, welcome to the Mission 68 broadcast where we serve justice, love mercy.
And walk humbly.
Yes, we do. I'm Brady Labe and I'm joined today with my co-host Jackson Parnell. Say hey Jackson.
Hello, everybody.
How's everybody doing today? It's currently October 4th, that's a Friday. Is when this is going to be going live. We have a few stories lined up for today. First, we're going to be going over, although maybe a little bit late, we wanted to make sure we got some real numbers to give y'all. Hurricane Helene, or um, however you say it. Then we're going to be going on afterwards, after we cover some of the crazy stuff that happened there. We'll be revisiting a topic from our last episode.
It was Monday, yeah.
Yeah, Monday, not the debate, but the ILA union strikes that have gotten a little bit further. The strikes are actually happening
They're
now,
actually in full effect now, yeah.
and we're going to be talking about that towards the end of the show on today's Mission 68. But you guys know first is going to be some Micah news. So there isn't, I don't think, any upcoming events that I'm seeing. Uh, we had one today, but we weren't able to get that out because we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I am going to go over the air quality, the real-time EPA PM 2.5. Currently, it's 49, which is higher than it normally is. Um, so, it just went down to the satisfactory indicator. It's like right on the edge. Just a second ago when I checked, it was in the yellow, which means that if you have like asthma or something, that it may be bothering your or promoting some like symptoms in that. Um, okay, I don't think that there's any Micah news for me to cover, so I think we should go straight into the hurricane. So I'm sure most of you have heard about hurricane that has gone through the southeastern part of the United States. It's caused pretty much some of the most substantial damage that we've seen since Hurricane Katrina that hit us in Louisiana way back when in 2005. So the death numbers aren't as big as Katrina's, but it is second to Katrina since like 2000. It's one of the biggest hurricanes that's happened in a while. And I mean, it hasn't been getting quite as much coverage as something as Katrina would have, too. This is certainly something to note, is that the severity of this storm, especially with how frequently the storms have been happening, as you guys know, of course, we all know, we were hit with also a Category 4 storm, and then a Category 2 storm in 2020, or was it 2021?
I think it was 21.
Maybe, yes, maybe 21. Um, so it is, like we say every single time on this show, it is undeniable and scientifically and statistically supported that the frequency and severity of these storms are getting worse. And this is due to man-made climate change because it is causing the ocean to heat up every single year and giving more and more energy so that these storms can come through and do what they did to the communities, all states in the southeastern part of the United States most affected was it the flooding was most in
North Carolina.
North
I believe, was
Carolina
the worst.
was
Yeah.
the one where we've gotten the most stories from at least. And then
There's like an entire area in North Carolina right now that's like a information dead zone because all forms of land travel have been cut off. Okay, there was a bridge that was like the only way in and out of the area, and it's been collapsed. So like the only info that's coming in and out right now is like overhead shots from drone footage and stuff.
oh really? They don't have like
Yeah.
internet because the internet's down there? Well, obviously they don't have
No, like
internet.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally like a informational dead zone at the moment.
Yeah, and even worse than that, there are literal towns that aren't there. They are
Yeah,
underwater.
Asheville,
Yeah,
was it Tennessee? Or
I'm
was it
not sure.
North Carolina?
It is at
The
Asheville.
city of Asheville does not exist anymore.
It's it is completely underwater. So that's not even as bad as what happened to because for us it wasn't flooding as bad as it was the wind damage for Laura.
Mm,
The flooding, kind of like how Harvey was in Texas, for like Corpus Christi and stuff. The flooding is like catastrophic levels of flooding. some like numbers on it just so that we can understand the effects that this hurricane has had. Is that the death toll is it's nearing about 200, like I said, so that makes it the second deadliest hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland since 2000. Of course, Katrina being the first. It's actually such, and the amount of hurricanes that have been hitting recently, and the intensity, they're happening so much that FEMA funds are running out. They think they're running out this year. They're scared for any more hurricanes to happen because they don't know if they're going to be able to provide any more funds for the rest of the year. Remember, folks, it's only going to get worse from here.
Yeah, as climate change persists, these problems are only going to get worse and more frequent.
Yeah, more frequent and
So,
worse,
like,
severe and more often. It could not be worse. Not only are these things going to happen more, and of course, all of the things that come with hurricanes, infrastructure damage, displacement of people, loss of jobs, economic impacts, of course, there are systematic problems in place prior to any hurricane that cause even more damage than just the hurricane would. Some stories that we're going to get into today. So there are going to be a lot of avoidable deaths, not even avoidable just from us not bringing more pollution into the air, doing more climate change. There's going to be avoidable deaths from many
corporate
different
negligence.
businesses being negligent, which we will also go over today. We are going to play a clip of President Biden. Oh no, that's not on the.
That's for
the next one.
story.
He did make President Biden did make a statement. He went down with Harris to the places that were affected to give how presidents do during disaster relief, they make face there. But to relate it, I think that's pretty much all to say about the hurricane itself. Or do we want? Oh no, wait. Let's play the. I'm sorry. What we were speaking about, the negligence. I don't want to skip ahead. We're going to be showing an interview by the News 5. This is an interview conducted by on someone who worked at Impact Plastics, and essentially what happened was their company did not allow them to, or did not permit them to evacuate.
Yeah,
until the
they
day
were,
of, or the day they couldn't go.
Yeah, it was quite clear that a storm was about to hit, and they were, I think, threatened with termination if they didn't show up to work that day.
Yeah.
And you'll see how it turned out.
Yeah, we'll play the clip. So I'm gonna mute my mic.
First, if you'll say and spell your name so I get that right.
It's Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T, Jarvis, J-A-R-V as in Victor, I-S.
So when have you seen the statement that the plastic company sent out? When you saw that, what's your first thought?
It was anger, hurt, it was lies. It was just frustration.
What really happened that day?
We were all working and the power went out, and I got a text right when the power went out from another employee saying that the parking lot was flooded. I started walking up towards the break room. That's where you walk out at, to the parking lot. And I seen the parking lot flooded, and I was like, what do I do? And told me move my car. They said move my car. So I moved my car to higher ground, which it was still in water. There wasn't no at all dry ground in that parking lot. I got out. I said, can we leave? And the woman said, no, not until I speak with Jerry. About 10 minutes later, she came back and said, y'all can leave. It was too late. We had one way in, one way out. And when they told us we could leave, the one way out was blocked off. So we were stuck in traffic on that road, waiting to see what we were gonna do, because everybody knew it was just one way. And then we turned around, we all finally got turned around, and some people going up this big old train road, four-wheel drive were getting up there barely, and people were getting stuck trying to get up there. So they sent us down, so some of the other employees from another company sent us down. They said they cut open the fence on 26, so we went down there. And as we were trying to go down there, I lost my car and started floating down the river. Well, we didn't know what to do. We were in panic mode. So the water was coming up, and then we did what we had to survive. It was a guy in a 4x4 came, picked a bunch of us up and saved our lives, or we'd have been dead too.
What does that feel like now to be, one of the, few that made it out? I don't know how many.
It hurts. It hurts knowing that they didn't make it and I did. I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't seem fair to me that they didn't make it.
What would you say to the company?
Why'd you make us work that day? Why? We shouldn't have worked. We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there. And that's what I should have said to them. Why did you make us work when you knew you said in the statement you were monitoring it? Why did you make us stay and work?
Is there anything else that you want?
I mean, when they told us we could leave, it was just too late. I mean, there was no way out. Some people made it out with four-wheel drives, but if you didn't have four-wheel drive, or if you were stuck in that line I was stuck in, it was too late. Because, like I said, my car got washed down the river, down the road, actually, and just, they shouldn't have ever made us go into work that day. And it breaks my heart for them people that we lost. They were good. Every one of them were good people. I work with them every day. And we were like family. We cut up, we joked there. And it broke my heart to see that they died and that they didn't make it. All because of greed, I think.
Do you know how many people are gone?
6 from impact plastics. We lost 6 people. And that was all on first shift.
I think that's enough for TV unless you wanted to. I
No.
appreciate
Things are going to start moving very
Yeah, so that was one of the workers from the company and what he had to say about it. So it's hard to even start
Yeah,
with
it's
that.
I'm thinking about, like at my job, like if the shop were to flood, like losing 6 of those people, like
Yeah, 6
like
of
he
your
was saying, like
coworkers.
I care about my coworkers. I don't know them all super well, but like losing yourself, like losing your life over a management decision over the course of 10 minutes. It took them 10 minutes to decide, like a life or death situation, like a literal life or death situation.
Yeah, well, I think that
A completely and entirely avoidable situation. Like risking the lives of these workers in the name of profit it's despicable, like completely despicable.
yeah, I think there's an overarching theme here that the hurricanes that are coming in stronger to knock down everybody, to kill people, are all the same people who are uh, perpetuating that type of climate change because of greed, are also affecting workers because of greed. Um, so much greed that they can't even play it safe. Say, hey, we're not sure where it's gonna go. I'm sure that it was at that point where they were sure because everyone else had evacuated. But we're gonna close up for the day. That is absurd because it's just completely negligent. On the business's behalf, it's unacceptable. Um, and you could see that guy obviously he was flustered. I'm sure that dude is traumatized now because of the actions of the company. And I also saw some comments and I think I just want to address this really quickly, because a lot of people were like, well, why didn't he just leave anyway? Or like, why, like, was his job more important than that? Just really quickly, I think we should have a little discussion about it's not just easy to just get another job. It's not just something that happens. You can't just like leave your job and like, oh, okay, I'll just get another one. Like some people, especially people who do not maybe have the opportunities in life that some are presented with to get higher educations or have the social mobility from either their parents or other relatives or trust funds. You can't just get another job, especially if that job, I don't know if this one is, but just for example,
And
gives you
you
health benefits, dental benefit, gives you a 401k. You can't just leave your job. There's so much pressure on you to go to work.
yeah. Like if you just think about it for a little more than your immediate first thought here, like obviously that job must have some sort of significance to him if he was willing to stay up until that point. Like, of course, there's got to be some sort of uh need or urgency that he keep this job that he was willing to stay even that long. So, I mean, like the question kind of answers itself in that case. It's just a very irresponsible mindset to have about a situation like this when it's so obviously a corporate greed issue.
Yeah, seeing the comments made me think if there's anyone who's going to listen to this and react the same way, I just want to quickly address
Yeah.
that because I just would not like that to be the takeaway from the story. But more slightly related to the hurricane, not necessarily, the ILA strikes that are happening, of course, they stop pretty much anything from coming into being transported into the United States. That includes
again from the other episode, these the results of this strike are estimated to be similar to COVID shutdown levels of supply chain issue.
Yeah, so it's happening pretty full scale right now, and the union itself is getting a lot of pressure. Jackson and I will be, of course, as we always do, taking a pro-union stance on this topic. I think I'll just put the disclaimer in the description this time about how it's not. These are me and Jackson's opinions, not Micah 6'8" opinions. And we're gonna go into a little bit of first of all, just a little bit of a Union 101, so that we can really understand or at least attempt to
know what we're talking about a little more than because unions are like they've been around in America for about as long as corporate enterprise has, but because of a whole litany of things we probably won't get into today, they haven't really been super present in our lives up until recently again. So we just felt it necessary to sort of give a refresher to those who might not be fully like understanding of what a union is.
Yeah, so I guess to be brief and in layman's terms, essentially it's whenever workers in some business or industry come together and organize their labor, so they organize together to negotiate and fight for certain working conditions that they think that they are entitled to from the corporation or business that they work for. Would that be do you think that would be a good description of it, Jackson?
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, just workers forming some sort of coalition to demand necessary changes to their working environment from their employer.
Yeah. So
good examples of some union benefits that we sort of all experience now. The biggest one I can think of is weekends.
Yeah. Oh, I knew you were gonna say that one. Yeah. Unions got us weekends. They also, I believe it was they also got us the minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum wage is also a product of unions.
Union action.
Yeah. These are, of course, back whenever the hours were 7 days a week, 80 hours for the whole week, probably more. Also, child labor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jinx. Yeah, child labor. So unions historically have done pretty well. So we bring this up because we would like, the goal of our message today is, before we get into any more media coverage about it, to maybe redirect where you're placing some of the anger with the how it's going to affect the economy and your packages, clothes, food.
Yeah. not only that, but also we want you to have this mindset going in to sort of look at what the motivation behind the kind of coverage mass media is giving this strike right now.
Yes. Yes. So I think that would be a good segue. We're gonna play a clip from well, technically it's posted by the Young Turks, but it's from Fox News.
Yeah, it was a live moment from Fox, I believe.
Yeah, so we are going to play that. It is the leader of the union. He's being interviewed,
Yeah, Mr. Harold Daggett,
Yes.
the leader of the ILA.
So we will play that now.
You are going to grind the economy to a halt here on the East Coast and the Gulf Coast.
No, not us. They are. Don't spin it now because you're Fox News. They're going to drive it.
But are you worried?
They're going to drive it.
Are you worried that this
They have the
strike?
capital to settle this thing.
Are you worried that this strike is going to hurt the everyday American, the farmers that need to reach the export market? They're
Listen,
telling me that they're going to hurt through
Now
all
you
of
start
this.
to realize who the longshoremen are, right? Nobody cares. People never gave a
Also, I just paused it. There is profanity.
about us until now, when they finally realized that the chain is being broke now. Cars won't come in. Food won't come in. Clothing won't come in. You know how many people depend on our jobs? Half the world.
Okay, so he did a very I applaud him. He did very well on switching the rhetoric and like narrative on what the reporter was trying to get out of him. He did a very good. I mean, of course, he is the union leader, so he is probably prepared to
It's
do
expected, yeah.
that. So that he's right. There's a lot of backlash coming from other workers, people in the middle class, that it's the union, the people who are striking at the union's fault. Whenever the corporation,
They wouldn't need to do this strike if they weren't experiencing
if they had
strife
fair,
at their workplace.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So we should be putting pressure. We should not be discouraging the union, but we need to be putting pressure on the corporations that are causing them to unionize, that they should come to an agreement and obviously be treated fairly at their workplace, whatever their demands may be. Actually, President Biden kind of says something that is aligned with what we would say. He is in support of the unions, as he's been a pro-union president for most of his
About as pro-union as, at least in comparison to all other modern presidents, he's been a pretty
very pro-union,
labor forward. Yeah.
So before I go into any bit more about it, I'm gonna play what he has to say about it.
This natural disaster is incredibly consequential. The last thing we need on top of that is a man-made disaster, what's going on at the ports. We're getting pushback already, and we're hearing from the folks regionally that they're having trouble getting product they need because of the port strike. And look, there's a consortium of basically 6 owners that control all the ports from all the way to the East Coast down around the Gulf. And they've made incredible profits, over 800% profit since the pandemic. And the owners are making tens of millions of dollars in this. The last thing they need is to profit off of this. It's time for them to sit at the table and get this strike done.
Okay, so yeah, that was.
I was commanded. I was on the phone for at least 2 hours yesterday.
What
Do you have
president?
autoplay on?
Huh?
Do you have autoplay
I guess
on?
so. I don't know. That was on that was on their website, so I don't know how I'd have autoplay on a website. Regardless, what the president said was true, that they're having companies like this, and this is seen across many different industries. This is also the oil and gas industries, groceries. They have been making record profits since the pandemic. That's true, and that's important to keep in mind, because it should show how much more we should be upset at these corporations for not paying their workers fairly. And that in a time like this, it also shows how powerful and I said this last episode, how powerful workers are. That whenever they collectively come together and they say, hey, we're not working until we get our fair share of these profits, it works.
Yeah, it really does prove that at the end of the day, we are in charge of our labor, and we have the ability to collectively take action against these wealthy, profit-seeking people who only really wish to exploit our role in this economy.
Yes, certainly. I think I would agree with that too. And I think that, again, just to touch, because I know that there might be, again, to touch on any sentiment that there may be against the union, like we said before, imagine how powerful this would be if these union and these forces were supported by the population as well. If you really want it to be solved, if you really want not to there not to be economic consequences, then side with the union. Side with the union and say, hey, this wouldn't have been a problem. Get these greedy corporations to pay their workers properly, to give them the workplace that they deserve.
Well, in this particular strike, the issue isn't really pay. It's they're under threat of losing their jobs to automation.
Oh, they did. I thought they had said pay on the article we read last time. I did remember that too.
It might be a pay related, but it's more so the
Okay.
automation threat.
Well, regardless, yeah, they don't want their. I mean, and again, they shouldn't be scared to not have a job.
They've already he mentioned it in a separate interview, just to prove that this really is the corporations at fault here. They've already had several corporations that contract with this union do some pretty back channel methods of circumventing contractual obligations they had already set against automation. So it's just
Yeah.
more fuel to the fire that this is the corporation's fault.
Yeah, they are trying to. I mean, and of course, automation, although despite having record profits, they are going to automate so they don't have to pay any workers to make even more profits. But I don't want to press too further on. I don't want to run our time down if we get started on something else. So I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I will attach any Micah news I forgot maybe in the description. Check the description when this goes up. I'll have links to anything. I think I did see one link for if you want to get involved with Micah 68. I'll have that link in the description below, and anything else that may be coming up. So thanks, guys, for listening today. Goodbye.
Bye.